Hello, student. Warmly welcome to the online Nakura. So today our session, I hope we are only waiting like 10 days for the exam, right? 1 month ago, so we completed our theory program and parallelly revision program also. Summarizing theory sections, separate program. So revision program also completed uh, the all the areas, only remaining for the mock paper 1 and 2, right? Mock examination paper 1 and mock paper 2, right? So only so pending. So we'll upload this with this video with the mock paper mock examination paper 1, right? And then our plan is I think 24th, right? Wednesday, right? 23rd, 4th. Yes, 24th should be Wednesday. After the your first attempt in coming Saturday and Sunday exam, then after next Saturday, so before between, right? So then in middle of the you are starting exam, so 20 that Wednesday we will do the second mock paper, so it will be live class, right? So that is our approach. And also first mock paper upload, then will I want you to attend. I will discuss how this paper also is structured, and so at that time I will tell more, right? So with that, today is the tips for effective exam preparation. So that is objective. We can learn a lot, acquire a lot of knowledge, but how effectively deliver the exam. So it is depend how you success or not in the exam, right? That is the game plan, right? That is how well you manage the 3 hours, so that is how you can success, right? Otherwise some people even myself also sometimes even some paper in the chartered, so when come to the home say I can write this paper, this question this way, like lot of things come, right? But in the 3 hour, how you manage, so that is important, right? For that purpose I will share a few informations, right? Today I hope to maximum 1 hour, right? This session, I know these days we are time is more effective and efficiency use, right? That is this video also I want to in a way use to explain, right, this effective tip for effective exam preparation, right? So with that, this is this today's session summary, right? So I will discuss about the CA strategic level action verbs guide, right? I already this our common WhatsApp group share, right, the document, but I want to you with extra with you all to explain. And so all 10 I select the 10 action verbs, those action verbs from the your pilot paper, right? Based on the pilot paper I pick the all the action verbs, and then I practically apply to the your subject advanced risk management and corporate governance, how it could be tested. It's a hypothetical scenario built, right? So don't accept same thing in the exam, but due to get the understanding, hypothetical case develop, right? I will discuss. And the second one, explanation of the CA open book examination policy. Now CA, this announce those notice I will share with you, right? I hope you already go, but I want you to emphasize this time like open book. How to you? Those are very strict rule, right? Not like previous syllabus. This syllabus they are in a more concerned about the open book in a structure way use, right? You to only can do highlight, right? Other than nothing you can't do, right? That is how. So I know before the exam, 1 or 2 days, even I also do what the highlighting these things. So that is I want in advance you to give how you have to structure these highlighting. Want to you do that? Other than you can't do, then you maybe disciplinary action. Lot of things talk about notice also there. I will discuss that is talk about here explanation of the student notice, right? That is also here we'll discuss, and examination guide based on the mock examination paper one. So paper is with me, right? Tomorrow we'll upload to the LMS, right? All registered student, you all can repair this. So this paper I will guide you to how to tackle, right? 3 hours papers, how you handle, right? In a way, this I will explain, and also after tomorrow, that means that mock paper. Then after 1 or 2 day, I will 1 day, 2 days after I will suggest us answer also release. But in the meantime, I want you to yourself to attend, right? No need to have 3 hours full time writing. At least one by one question read. You can understand how you structure. 2, 3 A4 papers you have to structure point wise. This way I will attend like this. Even 4 questions. Last 3 questions you only want to do two. Then you mock paper you select what you have to do in a two, right? Like kind of experience please take. Other than the, I can say parallelly upload to suggest answer, but paper and answer reading no effective, right? So latter part some area you can repair, right? But in the you to attend, that is I encourage you to, right? So this is the expectation of today's session, right? So this right now we can so I want to move you with the, this is action verb, right? Action verb. So 10 action verbs here I will discuss with you, right? So it is all action verb you can expect in the your paper, right? I extracted all action verbs from the your pilot paper, right? Pilot paper one. So this is the one. So this is advanced risk management and corporate governance. The subject and hypothetical in nature, intended solely for the explanatory purpose, right? So that is also keep in mind. First one is talk about the value. Evaluate. So this is one of the first here. I want to explain you to the action verb evaluate. So evaluate. What is talk about the evaluate? So make a reason judgment on worth or quality, right? Worth or quality. So that is how evaluate do. So evaluate. What is the definition? To evaluate requires you to assess the value, significance, or quality of something using relevant criteria. So it goes beyond the description, right? You must weight evidence. You have to weight the evidence and then consider multiple perspectives and arrive at the supported conclusion or judgment. You have to arrive in the supported conclusion or judgment, right? So that is how definition of the this evaluate. But with the example, you can get more understanding, right? So that is my expectation. So what it demands? So what it demands? Evaluate. Identify the relevant criteria or benchmark, right? Examine evidence for and again. For and again. That is also your mind. Now, for and against, right? Evaluate you have to for and again. Both you have to consider, right? Do you are evaluating any facts, right? Apply professional skepticism, weight trade-offs, and deliver the clear, justified verdict. Your conclusion must follow the logically from your analysis, right? Logically, you have to conclude, right? So that is how what is demand, and then so then apply to the your uh, advanced risk management and corporate governance, right? Example, right? You can think evaluate. Example is advanced risk management point of view. Evaluate the effectiveness of the organization enterprises risk management framework in identifying and mitigating strategic risks, right? So that is one of the example. So then risk management point of view, corporate governance point of view, evaluate the effectiveness of the board current governance structure in managing conflict of interest between the controlling shareholders and the minority investors, right? So that is how for or again, right? That is a given mind evaluate for or again, right? Both facts you have to logically evaluate, right? That is how you have to approach in the answering the question under the action verb of evaluate, right? Evaluation. And then skills active, critical thinking, judgment, evidence weighting, professional skills, those skills. So you have to activate it, right? Then analyze. Second one is analyze, right? Analyze. So what is analyze saying? So break down and examine the components in depth. So you have to analyze, that means break down and examine the components in depth, right? So this is how analyze. Then definitions, to analyze means to examining the subject in detail by breaking into the component part, right? You have to breaking into the component part, right? So then, so like say, you to analyze the risk, right? So how to say? So say like a financial risk analyzing thing. How you break down? You can break down to it into credit risk, market risk, then liquidity risk, right? Likewise, you can break down, right? So that's how financial risk analyze, right? That is example I want to tell. Likewise, you have to break into the component. Then parts, understanding how each part functions and exploring the relationship between them in the systematic dis, dissection of the information into uncover meaning, right? So then what it demand? Decompose the issue into the elements, examining each element carefully, identify the pattern and then the causes and effects and draw insight from your findings, analyzing the foundations of the higher order tasks such as evaluation and recommendations. One of the example in the advanced risk management point of view, analyze the key operational and reputational risks, right? Key operational and reputational risks arising from the organization proposed outsourcing of it is core IT infrastructure, right? You have to break it and go to in depth, right? So then that is how example analyze, right? Analyze the key operational and reputational risks arising from the organization proposed outsourcing of it is IT infrastructure, right? And then another one is a corporate governance point of view. Analyze the composition of the board of directors and assess whether it is meet the requirement of the good corporate governance, right? Analyze the composition of the board, right? Now you to give board composition, right? There are independent director and right non-executive directors, like kind of composition, right? There are caliber composition, right? You have to analyze how composition, right? Whether is there are finance accum director in the board, that means audit committee should have to chair by the this professional accounting body member, right? So composition including in that, right? Diversity we talk about, right? Diversity, the woman on the board talk about, right? Likewise, so you have to in depth you have to go analyze, right? So those are the skills, also decompositions and pattern recognitions, cause and effect, insight generation, right? Those are how analyze you have to do. So hope you clear about this, right? And then third one is the conduct, right? Conduct. So that is the conduct. What does it mean? Carry out the structure, process or procedures, right? That is the goal conduct. Carry out the structure, process or procedures. To conduct mean to carry out or perform the specific professional process, procedure or activity in systematic and methodical way, right? It implies a purposeful actions guided by the professional stand, right? Conduct. That is say conduct. So what the demands? Apply the appropriate professional methodology. Say due diligence review. So the risk assessment process, right? Execute each stage logically and demonstrate competence and completing the process rigorously, document your approach and finding, right? That is example, conduct the risk assessment of organization exposure to the liquidity risk following its recent expansion into the emerging market, right? That is how conduct, you have to conduct, right? So this is talk about conduct, the mean carry out the perform effective professional process and product, right? You have to base on the risk assessment, right? You can do the conduct the risk assessment to of organization to expose to liquid risk following it is a recent expansion into the emerging end markets, right? Conduct the review of the board, comply with the king for principles of the ethical leadership and corporate citizenship, right? There is we different corporate governance framework discussed, right? Under this come here, right? So this is the how conduct, right? So you to apply in the exam. And then what are the skills, procedural knowledge, methodological, then professional standard, right? According with the professional standard, you can conduct, right? The internal auditing, the IIA auditing standard, right? You conduct. So this is risk assessment, right? Then you conduct other whatever the way. So according with the professional standard, the systematic execution, right? The recommended, right? Recommend. So what is called recommend? In the purpose prepared course of action with the justification, right? That is called recommend. The recommend mean to put forward, right? You have to suggest, right? Recommend. Definitely these things come exam, right? You have to recommend to best practice. So given to the very, the bad governance board structure, right? No properly in the according with the, no independent directors, no non-executive director, executive director in only board, and like this. Then you, what you have to do? Recommend the best practices in line with the code of best practice in corporate governance 2023. So then you have to recommend, right? That is example I want to explain, right? Like kind of referring to this, you can recommend, right? You that risk, you have to identify the risk according with the business conglomerate. You have 5 business unit risks you have to identify. As per identify risks, recommend the risk strategic mitigation action plan. So you have to write, right? That is also keep in mind, right? Practical all word. So you have to use this word to your approach, right? In paper. So then this recommend most appropriate options backed by the sound professional reasoning. It requires the taking a definitive position rather than the merely presenting the alternative, right? So what it demands, evaluate the available options, select the most suitable base on the scenario constraint and objectives, justify your choice clearly, address the practical implication of your recommendation, including the risks, benefits, implementation consideration, right? So then apply to the your subject, recommend. So advanced risk management point of view, recommend with the justification on appropriate risk response strategy. Avoid, reduce, transfer, accept, risk, how to risk response strategy, right? All four are risk, that responsing, right? For each, the 3 principles of risk identified in the scenario, right? This can, you to pursue action, you to identify the risk, and then you to recommend to the risk response strategy, right? So you now we have practically you can think how it's coming in the exam, right? The corporate governors recommend the improvements to the audit committee terms of reference to strengthen its oversight of the external audit process and financial reporting integrity, right? That is example of this, right? Decision making, recommend justification, risk awareness, practical reasoning. So that is a recommendation most important that practical reasoning, right? You cannot recommend something you can't practically apply, right? That is also keep in mind. Practical reasoning is most important when you are recommending something, right? You can't practically apply, you can't recommend, right? That is also keep in mind. So with that, next one is the discuss, right? Discuss, talk about the examining all the side of the issue in a balanced way, right? Balanced way. So to discuss definitions, talk about the to discuss mean to explore the topic by presenting the different perspective, arguments and viewpoints and the balance and structure manner. So it requires the breadth of engagement with the subject matter, acknowledging the complexity and the that's called nuance, right? So that is how discuss is happening, right? So then what it demands? The present the argument for and again. Discuss also keep a mind, na? Discuss, even evaluate also we talk about for and again. So discuss you have to for and again, right? You can discuss, right? So multiple aspects have to issue with the support reasoning for each avoid one side response. You can't one side response. So both fact, right, multiple aspect you have to look, and then the demonstrate the awareness of the competing consideration and where appropriate offer the balanced conclusions, structure your discussion logically, right? So advanced risk management point of view, discuss the advantage and limitation of the using value at risk as a primary measures of the market risk for the financial servicing organization, right? Discuss. Discuss the argument for and again the separation of the role of the chief CEO and the board chairperson, right? So that word also given, right? Sometimes if you are going this, no point to give, right? For and again, right? Including. If you are discuss mean you have to for and again, right? Now here this example is giving that word also. You to further get the understanding, right? For and again, right? The balance argument, right? Birth of coverage, structure of debate, right? So that is how is going to the discuss. Then advice, right? This is also keep in mind advice. Provide the expert guidance tailored to the employer situation, right? To our employer situation. So you are a CIA, Chief Internal Auditor, Chief Risk Officer, Chief Compliance Officer, right? Chief Risk and Chief Risk Officer, whoever five posts, right? So you are advised to the board, right? So that is how you have to advise. Advise mean to offer the professional guidance, counsel or directions to a specific party, typically a client or board management based on the expert knowledge and judgment applied to their practical circumstances, right? That is talk about the advice definitions and then come to the what demands. Adopt the role of the trusted professional advisor. Tailor your guidance to the specific facts of the scenario. Communicate clearly and practically and in the way that useful to the recipient. That is important. Useful to the recipient, right? If the you know useful in the recipient, no point, right? That is also keep in mind. The considering the consequences of the advice and plan, right? So that the limitations of further information need, right? Then come to that advanced risk management point of view. So then advise the chief risk officer on the steps the organization should take into embedded risk awareness culture through all the level of the business, right? That is how we advise. Advise the board on the awareness measure it should implement to manage the related party transaction according with the best practices, right? That is how advice come, right? Client forecast, your employee forecast, professional counsel, right? Clear communications, right? Apply expertise, those are the skills. So then come to the next one, right? Purpose, right? Purpose. Purpose, talk about it. Hope you to clear. Put forward the plan, solution, and idea, right? For the consideration. That is how called purpose. Put forward plan, solution, and idea for the consideration. So then, purpose means to formally put forward the structure, plan, solution, propose. Sorry, propose, right? I also sorry for that, right? That propose, right? Propose mean the formally put forward structure plan solution or framework, right? Idea, so that is you can propose, right? Board to you can propose, right? Or approval, right? Consideration or approval. It differ from the recommend, right? That offense involved the formulating the new approach or strategy rather than the choosing the between the existing options, right? Develop an uh, articulate, articulate coherence, well reasons proposal, right? Outline the key elements, objectives, expected outcome, address the feasibility, potential challenges, why the proposal is appropriate, giving, and those are how, what demand. Then propose risk appetite statement and supporting risk tolerance threshold for the organization introducing the new high risk product market, right? Right, new high risk product, you are enter into the new high risk product market, then you have to propose risk appetite statement and supporting the risk tolerance threshold. Then, like a corporate governance point of view, propose the revised board committee structure, including the compositions, mandate, and each committee, aligned with the organization new strategic objective. Right? Creative problem solving skills, strategic thinking, structure planning, feasibility assessment, right? So those are the uh, one. This next one, develop, right? Develop. What is develop? Build out the concept, plan or argument in a full detail, right? Develop. You develop. You have to develop the fraud risk management policy. Develop the anti-corruption policy to the organization, right? Develop the whistleblowing policy, right? That can be, right? You can suggest, right? Meaning to take into idea, concept, strategy, plan or work throughout the comprehensive building out into sufficient depth, detail and coherence. It signals that through a elaborate response in the expected and not the superficial overview, right? You have to in detail have to look that. Construct Construct the responsive in the logical, progressive manner. Expand into each element with the relevant detail link components. Right. The example, develop business continuity plan. Right. That is why BCP. Right. Address the organization key operational risks. Identifying the scenario. Develop a director induction and ongoing training program. Right. So that is how develop come, right? Develop come. That is why develop the fraud risk management plan, right? You are the CIA. You develop the suggest the fraud risk plan to ban. So anti-corruption policy, anti-corruption plan, right? Like kind of lot of things can to develop, and then in depth of treatment, logical progression, right? Strategic construction, completeness. Those are important, right? Next one talk about the identify, right? Identify is recognize and name the relevant elements or issue, right? Identify. So to identify it meaning to recognize, pinpoint, that is important, right? Pinpoint and name the specific element, issue, risks and factors you to identify the risk. So according with the say given scenario, that organization group you to identify the five strategic risks, then you have to identify, right, according to the scenario, like kind of questions asked, right? Then you have to issue risks and know them that relevant to the question. It is a typically focus and selective risk tasks require knowledge apply to the scenario, right? I will not take a teaching reading those everything. Apply, identify the principle of strategic, operational, and compliance risks arising from the organization. Now, identifying the key component, corporate governance deficiency, right? Those are identifying. The scenario awareness, you have to well aware of the scenario. Otherwise, you can't identify, right? You have to read the case and then you have to identify, right? That is scenario awareness. Knowledge applications, what you theory learn. So scenario there, then you reading, you can identify. This is study risk. This is a compliance risk, right? This is operational risk. Talk about the fraud, then operational risk, right? So violation of the regulator, central bank, this is a compliance risk. like kind of your knowledge application need, right? So issue the spotting, right? So with that, next one talk about the it is required to communicate in the understanding the way that accessible, right? Explain, right? Now next one is explain. Make clear, make clear the meaning, reason or mechanism of something, right? Explain meaning to make the something clear and understandable way by describing how it work, what it mean and what its significant. That is explain. You have to properly explain why it work, what it means, what is significant, right? So with that, it is required to communicate in this, go beyond this, then come to the practical exam application, explain the concept of residual risk, how it differ from the inherent risk, right? Explain the role of and responsibility of the remuneration committee, right? You have to explain, right? So why independent oversight of the executive pay is considered cornerstone of the good corporate governance, right? So now you can understand how they explain communication, right? Conceptual clarity, right? Audience awareness, right? That is also important, right? So that is how this is end of the this CA strategic advanced risk management point of view. Key action verb just I discussed, right? All 10 I extracted from the pilot paper, right? All 10 is the pilot paper, right? Some more than here will come in your exam sometimes, but all 10 definitely in your paper, right? Please this have understanding before you writing what I am writing, right? This is a keep in mind this action verb also, right? Do want to too much thinking, but some case evaluate, discuss, right? For and again, right? For and again. Likewise, keep in mind, right? So otherwise not the one side answer. That is how developing this. So hope you to understand about this, right? So with that, today, so with the short period, so I right this is already done, right? Others are too, I think, no too much uh, right neat, but I think our responsibility, right, with this you to explain about this thing. You want to see a Sri Lanka notice also there, right? Open book policy, right? This is February 2nd, right? Sometimes ago issue, but now we have to keep in mind this, right? That is important, right? This is the open book. Now your exam is now is 27th, right? Conducting, and before also they are studying. So keep in mind open book policy. That is also you have now you are well about this action verb, but this also need to you to write down. That is a keep in mind. That is open book policy. CA Sri Lanka Council Institute of CA Sri Lanka say then has resolved that the according with the open book policy approved by the council, students are permitted to highlight or underline only. Right? That is a keep in mind. That is I want to tell. Students are permitted only, right? That is a keep in mind. Hope you do. I will move this, right? Highlight and underline only, right? You are called of that is I know last date you do that. That is I 10 days before this session I want to release you to write. So your ethics book I did with, right? I highlighted and explained you to write. Then corporate governance book, best of corporate governance 2023. That is also did, right? Both session for the theory and revision, both the two video available, right? Please with me you only do highlighting and underline only, right? Don't take any short note, other things not allowed, right? Only highlight and underline only you can do, right? Please, that is enough, right? Don't worry about this, right? These two books, right? Don't worry what I'm saying. No most critical areas, right? Those are please highlighting. That is important. You to refer, but you can't same thing produce in the paper, answer paper. No point. You have to scenario to apply, right? That is only purpose, right? You are writing in the open book, same thing in the copy into the answer booklet. You can't get marks, right? You apply to the scenario in this, right? For that purpose, we can refer, right? That is, you have to carefully use that open book, right? But only can do permitted to highlight or underline only. That is a keep in mind. Open book reference material authorized by the examination division, right? That is also keep in mind. In a paper itself, I discussed in the mock paper. There are lists, right? We can discuss that, right? Time to time, that's the consequence. Student who bring open book reference material containing short note or any other additional detail will not permitted to use the during the exam, right? That is will not, right? Then you go with this, that book they may remove, right? You can't bring it. Then, right, without book you have to write, right? So then better, right? This policy will be applicable from the curriculum 2025 onwards, right? Therefore, the student with permit open book reference materials that include the short note will be required to seek for the examination without such material, right? If you are no short note, if you are short note and then with go with the your open book, then you can't sit with that books, right? So that is a message there, right? Only highlight and underline only, right? Highlight and underline only. That is a keep in mind because I in advance want to do this. I know last 2 days you will do this open book preparation books. So you can highlight and underline what I did like my session. Same thing you do, right? So that is the message I want to you give. Open books, that is also important, right? If you are going with this without knowing this, I know you are not fraudulent things or something to malpractice thing, right? But you put the note and go, so something removed from the books, your mentality is, break, right? You don't have a confidence mentality to face the exam. That is exam tips this session, right? That is I want to you to free mind, sit and write the paper. So please follow those rules, right? That is I want to give a message of this, right? Hope you clear. Permit, open book, highlight and underline only. Highlight and underline only, right? So that is a keep in mind. And then next one, and this also I think hope to is better you with share, right? This is June 2026 issue Sri Lanka. I dear candidates notice to strict disciplinary consequences of the examination misconduct, right? I know you are not do, right? But you to better aware this, right? So that is the purpose I share. The CA Sri Lanka wishes to remind all the candidates sitting for the corporate and strategic level June examination for their obligation to uphold the highest standard of integrity, right? We discussed this, right? Ethics session, right? Altogether, I discussed this integrity, right? So that is as a student, see expect, right? That is why after student, 1 year, 2 year, you have become member, right? So before that also, these are important, right? The highest integrity and strictly comply with the examination regulations. So during the recent examination across the multiple level, including the written and online assessment, the institute identifies the instant of the malpractices committed by the candidate, right? Some malpractices, some people may do, didn't they identify, right? These include the not following the invigilators supervisor instruction, right? Your exam hall, there are, supervisor invigilators, right? So they will give the instruction you to write, start the paper, right? Half an hour remaining, and then close. All right, the time is close, right? So like this, then at the time you have to hand over the paper, right? Like kind of instruction issue, right? So you have to comply with them, right? So then supervisor instruction using mobile devices, don't take, and during the exam, copying and sharing the exam corrections and attempt to obtain the external assistance, right? Those I think hope on the online platform, right? Otherwise can't do this. So like that is I don't know which platform, whatever the platforms. So don't do this, right? That is my advice to you to, right? Following the formal inquiry conduct in line with the established procedure and based on the recommendation of the Council Sri Lanka, strict disciplinary measures were imposed in the confirmed cases, right? That means previous cases confirmed, disciplinary action already they took, right? These including the withholding the result, suspicion of the examination for the specific period and the imposition of the probationary condition, right? The candidate should note that any form of malpractices, seriously violation of the examination regulations and compromising the integrity of the Sri Lanka qualification is they are wholly inconsistent with the ethical standard required by the profession, right? So I don't think our students don't do that, right? But you have to keep in mind this better, right? All candidates are required to ensure the full compliance with the examination requirement, including the adhering to the open book examination guideline now already discussed, not bringing or using the unauthorized electronic communication devices, following all instructions issued by the invigilators, suffices so without exception, right? Ensure the proper handling and return all the examination material. So any violation will result in disciplinary action according with council approved procedure, which may include in the withholding result, suspicion from the future examinations, and other penalty deemed appropriate, right? Should you there was no point to tell, right? This is come from the direct examination, right? So hope you right. That is also better you to keep in mind, right? With that, so I think this that message I want to give, right? This where we are now, right? This also right. Now in the final part, examination guide based on the mock examination paper, right? So that we will discuss about this now.
Right. Shall we continue? So that today's session, last part. So the approach to the how to write the paper, right? Which I will use my mock paper, right? One of the mock examination paper one, right? With this video, so you to upload this paper, right? One of the sleeps last night, right? So I took to develop this well comprehensive high standard paper, right? Please read, get the understanding, right? My expectation from you to this, please, if you don't have time to, 3 hours to attend this, at least you can, piece of paper and point down. So what you can write under this, like this. So that approach please use. Even three question, two only you attain. So select what you have to do, right? Like kind of please do, and a well practical paper I developed, right? Another one will live discuss, right? So that Wednesday, right? I told. Then so this is the how approach. So this is the prepare the same as your paper, right? The structure you took 15 minutes, 3 hour paper, 15 minutes in advance, right? So you will receive the paper. So I suggest you to this time, right? This so this 15 minutes use. First, you to identify which question, last three question you have the 50 first questions compulsory. You don't have a choice, right? You have to attend. Right? This 9:30, that means 180 minutes you have. Then 90 minutes you can use the first question. That means 1.5 hours first question. 45 minutes for other two question. One question for 45 minutes, like this, right? So this is the approach. But this 15 minutes, so time you used to, out of three question, which two you attain, select, right? I suggest you to your own way you can do, right? So no fast, no hurry or do, right? But I suggest you to 15 minutes. So what of time? Because you have to read them some question you read all three questions. Then all question read, you can mark. I can't, right? Like this mark, right? Then what is can highest two questions select, right? So that is okay, no? Within 15 minutes, if you can do that, right? You have to just reading question, what questions they ask, you want to read those scenarios, right? These question also scenario you want to read, but reading the question, you try yourself to which question you can attend identify. You can mark and the highest is highest you can. So highest two you select out of three. I suggest this 15 minutes do that. Then you want to after next 3 hours. Then you are okay. One question you set aside, right? You want to look that, right? You want to read this scenario also, right? Because you are questions you assessing. First the highest can attend out of three questions two you select. Right now you are in the game plan, right? Game you are on in the 3 hours you use the 90 minutes for first question and then another 90 minutes. That means 45, right? The hours say 1.5 hours for the first question. Next next two question and then 1.5 hours you can do, right? So that is why 45 minutes, 45 minutes, the next two questions, right? So that approach please use, then you are very good, right? So other than scenario reading and you can't understand, you can questions that you identify. What is out of these three questions, what you can attain? Highest mark can you know what is highest areas, right? Then out of two select, right? This approach I suggest you can do your own with this 15 minutes, right? Utilizing. So then you have 3 hours fully, three first 100 first 1.5 hours for the first question compulsory one. Other two you have another half an hours, right? So those are the book, some book, I don't know, those are standard, say, standard auditing standard, quality management, this other paper, they are no, advanced auditing, then audit for less complex entities, right? Sri Lanka assurance, those are not relevant to your paper, right? Your one is, open book references will be a common one, no? Open one is this common one, right? Right? This is okay, right? Sorry, can't draw. And this book, okay, right? So you too, okay, this one, this is also right with you, right? Corporate governance is small, medium also there, right? There, don't worry that this is ethics book, right? Most best practice and ethics and open book reference, all three, right? This is semi, I don't think, right? There is too much not using this three, right? So you are try to right now you are okay with that. No? You highlighting or you write no note, no these things extra note of 10 and only highlight, right? So with you, right? Have this is also say short note, any other note written publication not allowed, right? The paper is also mentioned, na? What I previous session discussed, right? I want to tell, right? English language, I want to tell you, right? So this, so how this paper there, I was thinking, right? Or if you write this, come to write, this is your paper, like this, right? So this compulsory question, first one, right? First one is compulsory, right? Compulsory 50 marks, right? So 90 minutes, question paper is also 90 minutes select, right? So that is how, like this paper, my first paper is a conglomerate, right? Hypothetically build conglomerate. So like can like that as per pilot paper also scenario like this, right? Multiple business unit holding company, there are multiple business unit, right? This I will share with you, don't worry. So this here also I want to tell you how to approach, right? Now this micro action all very first sentence, two sentence about this holding company, right? This holding company, I will give a brief information. But this one time you read, you can forget these things. Don't worry about that, right? You have to identify what type of organization this. This is a KGH holding group, right? Group being there are a number of subsidiaries, right? Sri Lanka largest, blah 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 words there. You don't think in this, right? Because this question examiner also do this. I also didn't. You to in advance get the understanding, right? The PLC definitely there or regulator requirement there, right? Don't worry, right? But is there are five distincts in the business sectors, five sectors there, right? You can later part understand. Then separate subsidiary or study business unit there, right? That means sector, their subsidiaries, they are separate, right? Then the board comprises 14 directors and then independent non-executive chairman, 6 independent directors, all are there, right? Committee there. In the new thing, sustainability and ESG committee there. right? So with that, and group reported consolidated revenue this much, right? 5 years this, sorry, the financial year, then asset this much, employee this much, right? Ola, now this also KGH maintains significant foreign currency exposure, extensive technological infrastructure, brand value built over 3 decades. Size is integrated annual report and all. I don't worry, go properly had exceed the development of the enterprise risk management structure, right? That is a right, okay. Then you what to have to do that before this read also, right? If you want to first one read, first go to like this. There is structure paper I didn't write. So please yourself first attend this, right? I will take a not very first day upload the suggestions. You do I know this upload after this new technology using you can find the answers. But before that I suggest at least read yourself. Try I told to 1 or 2 papers, note down. Full 3 hours don't need to write if you can't. At least your mind then this because don't forget your exam lecture not there, technologies, AI or whatever not with you, right? Your mind and your pen only, right? That is your mind. So that better you in advance training is better rather than you do first time writing in the exam, right? Whatever your mind come this paper, sorry, and this paper, right? So please note down in the your separately paper, right? Blank paper, what you can think, you can write, right? This is a way. So you can understand now here, now our action verb there, right? All I develop action verb, right? You can identify the five spells by the JKH hold. Now this things, right? Let's talk about JK, sorry, KJH. I also, right, I also is, these things are happening, don't we? And KJH holding, right? Details name all, disclaimer there, right? I know actual organization like this scenario, right? But this, this KJH holdings, VLC, right? So with that, you have to repair, right? Organization holding what phase identify the risk. So right there is that mean you have to now this organization five business given you have to read down because JKH sorry KGH right KGH this there five business sectors right here they are. Now you can understand further we can read. No? I hope I give some information right. So based on the above scenarios, recommend the appropriate risk mitigation strategy for each identified file, right? Your answer should draw the risk spanning at least three of the five business unit, right? That is right. Out of five business unit given, out of three, at least you have to pick the risk, right? That is also keep in mind, right? So that means at least three scenario you have to read. You can five read and give more, okay, right? At least three you have to read, right? Then first one come business unit one, hospitality sector, red cinnamon, hotel and resort. You can read, you can identify this, right? First one. And then business unit two, retail sector, green mark, private limited. It's the supermarket chain, right? Talk about. And then the business unit three, marine sector, KJH marine services, right? That is also three also can answer, but 4, 5 also there, right? Financial services, first bank, right? Business unit 5, automobile sector, go green EV automobile, right? So that is why I was thinking and well defined case, right? I don't think CA paper this much of standard they go right very depth by thinking and develop this mock paper one, please, right? Get the reading and get the understanding. What you can, please attend. What you can write. What you can write, right? No need 3 hours like paper like you write. At least whatever your mind come, please note down the relevant questions, right? That is I urge you to write very structure word by thinking and all. And also one of few words there is a misaligned. Please bear with me, right? I'm the one prepare, I'm the one proofreading, everything do, right? So I did myself, right? I hope 100% I try to do it, right? That is also keep in mind. So this is how you have to approach, right? Likewise, you have to now this okay now Now you can this holding to, unfortunately you have to at least five business or three you have to read then identify the risk and then your recommendation have to do. That is a holding organization. Now it's come to the identify cyber security risk faced by the red cinnamon. Now you want to read everything, you can just pick to the relevant to the relevant business segment and read the answer, right? So that is I want to you tell. Now next one, identify the financial risk faced by the KGH Marine, right? Now you can read that scenario and answer, right? So then what is the next one? Explain the gold green foreign currency bank balance 3%, right? Now there is another company called gold green, right? Related. So brand, so that is automobile sector. You can read, right? Means a forex part also attached, gold green. And then another one is a Corso, right? KJH Holdings, the five components in the Corso internal control, right? This is also explained about here separately. You can think this is also group wide governance content, internal control and portal. Corso, right? This you reading this, you can answer, right? The likewise you have to question based what area you have to read, then you can have to apply your answer, right? So that is also keep in mind, right? You know, this is right. Always you have question related scenario, you read them. Some question you have to hold, right? You have to mind this. Otherwise, starting in three, four times don't read, right? I think question wise customized reading is important. You have to time save, right? Now these things, no point, no choice. Holding, you have to five business unit. Now here are three, at least three scenario, and you have to do this, right? Afterwards, you go case by case. That's going by the research unit by question, no, then you attend like this, right? So that is my expectation view, right? Now come to this, right? This is a two out of the three questions should be answer, right? So then you, I thought 15 minutes, you already select out of three, which two you attend, right? That means you have to read this within this one. I will give you some brief detail right you to get the understanding, right? Now you read 15 minutes these things, right? Then you can understand what you can, what you can't. With you know now starting, so what question, which question you attend to, right? So with that same approach do, don't worry, there are no much of information. You don't worry, right? You come to directly here, right? Now here mentioned the most of like you with reference to the internal audit scenario, described in part A of the scenario, address the following, right? Then you what do you do? First read the first one, right? Internal audit scenario. What is the internal audit part one scenario? This, right? This you read, right? Before that, just also give first sentence also read down. Now you can see here. Protect life insurer. This is an insurance company, regulated body, right? That conceptualize, visualize idea you take about the organization and industry. Then you can write, you are well known, right? That is why this sentence, one time you just read, you to get the understanding what is the industry, what is how regulator is, right? This knowledge with you is better answer you can give other question, right? So then you part one read them, answer that, right? This is approach, right? And then examining the right due to part one, all things you can read them, give an answer. Then with reference to corporate governance context, part two, right? You can read them, then answer this, right? That is approach. This also built healthcare, right? Same, right? Very first sentence given by the industry regulator, how PDPA, Central Environment Authority, those very information point to you how critical and important, how regulated industry is this company. That message give you, right? So that is how examiner do, right? Same thing I do. You to get the for you to get the prior understanding, right? And then part one there are right. Then you can read there. Then assess with regard to scenario best, right? Related to this healthcare address, right? With you can first start, right? Likewise, read this, go to the scenario and answer. So this is the approach. This also right. Ethics question, same approach, right? The finance organization, right? That is same. I want to take too much of time, right? That is, I made the disclaimers, right? There are no, so, solely for the education purpose or name and authority, I mentioned, but I develop, right? Not copy and paste anywhere, right? That is, I want to tell. But I'm working all the industry, healthcare, finance, right? The practical, my experience, I truly develop this question, right? That is my what I did approach. Then plus one was one of Sri Lankan big company, my mind there. So I did think, fine, that is okay, no, same thing not there, but that's the way organization anyhow come like this, so right. So no fictitious name and all, right? So no actual organization like this. Any case, right? So this is an approach. I hope you can attend that. This very good paper I prepared. Lot of work also put. You also can come, right? Don't worry to go. 15, 16 pages. You can don't, right? Yeah, sometimes this is my goodness. Don't worry about that, right? Customer, you answer accordingly. You read, right? You one time you want to read those 16 pages. No, you accordingly the attend with the question you read, then ultimately you may all read, but you all answer, right? That is important, right? So that is keep in mind. This is the approach. So hope you have understanding this paper with this video uploaded. So my request you to attend your own, right? Whatever your possibility. So this is one of theory paper like I customize one of the questions, right? So well balanced paper I prepared. So first you are own attend. So this approach also I explained, right? So this is expectation. So hope you now have understanding. So with that, I want to conclude, right? This we will meet mock paper 2 live discussion only, right? With that, I will conclude today's session. So now I think what we can do, we did, right? Everything theory well comprehensive theory program completed, and then the revisions, right? So what did right? So I know with that you are now will good in position, right? With so you are not stress, right? You can't be stressed, right? Everything we will do in advance. So the last moment, right now, this is why this paper also release with the maybe like been 10 days before, right? First one, another one, two, three, uh, day before, second one, right? That is both with a very competitive paper prepared, right? So this is why with this knowledge, so you can tackle your paper, right? That is our program on the 50 marks, much broader knowledge. You to we I already deliver, right? So that is keep in mind, but knowledge people have, but if you 3 hours you can't effectively manage. So with the knowledge, I know some people can't pass exam, right? So that gap and the now this people this time we have to this period we have to use right that gap to minimize. That is the whole purpose of this program. So this session I arranged right you to give exam tips right how to effectively prepare for the exam. Now 10 days already you have for this subject. So with that, I will conclude. Wish you all the best for your exam. So hope you all pass, right? No reason to fail, right? No theory or revision. One of the student, no reason to fail, right? Well detailed. So explain teaching approach I use with that right to have practical knowledge, not the book reading like this what the call reading, right? Practical knowledge I already delivered to you with that knowledge. Hope you and also keep in mind this is the first time in the new syllabus. I don't think too much may be tough for you to write with the short period you have already had learned 3 months. The March result issued with that April, May, June. Those will consider C, right? With that, so hope even the new things corporate down a lot of formula, right? So don't worry about this and this pilot paper approach also different. Even the book, 5 principles and this what's called Noctola kind of combining question may come right. Those formula will I don't think right too much this time see go right. So if they are even I also that one of the forum had with that lecture meeting. So I explain I I raise to them, please write the formula in the paper itself because no point by heart memorizing studying level formula, right? So the resource agreed, but this time I hope with the five principle, not far knowledge, you can tackle the corporate governance question, even ethics also, right? So sorry, ethics same, right? No, that no client five principles, corporate governance with the corporate governance books with the code of best practices, right? New things, peace look, risk committee, and say point of view 70 about 70 no more independent in this listing role, right? So that scenario can put in, right? And also cyber security, sustainability point of view, board of director role, right? Please keep in mind all point of view, right? So that is also message I want to give. With that, I conclude. Again, I wish you all the best. You hope you all successfully attend the exam, and you will go through this subject. So wish you all the best.